All right. We are live in the Immigration Answers live show for Thursday, November 19th. Maybe I'll turn on my light. Let's see. How's that? Better? All right. I even wore a collared shirt today because I'm having my first guest on the show. My first guest. We've had Mackenzie on the show before, but so for many of you, you might not, or you may have already spoken to our first visitor to the show today. His name's Daniel Axelbaum. He's been with us. Daniel, when did you start with us?
December 2019. So yeah, it's great to be on the show with you.
Yeah, so almost a year. So you've been here almost a year.
Yep. I feel like I'm on the Tonight Show, Jim.
Yeah, well, now that I laugh because, now those guys, they don't have their studio audience and they don't have all the high production value. So their shows look a lot like ours. Daniel, why don't you tell everybody a little bit about yourself and sort of what your job is at our firm?
Great. Well, yeah, like Jim, I grew up here in St. Louis, so and I've lived in some other countries and other places in the U.S., but happy to be back here. And at the hacking law practice, I handle intake calls and intake emails, so helping explain our services and fees and get people on board. So kind of the initial step of the process.
And you do a real good job, Daniel. I think people really like your demeanor. You definitely don't make people feel like they need to get off the phone quickly. And I think people really appreciate that. I did 5 or 6 calls today, and I think 3 of them were yours, and I think all of them commented on how they like talking to you and like they wanted to follow up with you instead of with me. So it was sort of
Well, I appreciate that. I'm a little easier to get a hold of, though. You're quite busy.
Well, that's true. So what do you think, Daniel? What do you think about the election? What do you think is going to happen immigration wise?
Well, that's what everyone wants to know that's calling in. I think, you brought up a good point is things aren't going to change like necessarily quickly. I mean, with some things, but, some of the things are going to take a longer time to change,
Yeah,
So,
that's one of the things I've been talking about in the videos, which is that, you sort of have this hierarchy of, the things that he can change quickly, the things that are going to take time, and the things that he's actually going to have to go ahead and publish a formal rule change. So it's so funny because in law school, I never took administrative law, which is sort of how agencies do their thing, but I really enjoy it. Like I had to study it for the bar, and it just made sense to me. So, a lot of people, I thought of this about 8 years ago, is that there's so much that goes on in the federal government, in the executive branch, which is the branch underneath the president, that doesn't involve changes to the laws in Congress, but rather, um, but rather, just administrative changes, or certainly Obama and Trump have both used the executive power out to sort of the far edges of their authority. Some would say for good, and some would say for bad, but the expansion of the executive branch and the sort of the power that goes with it is something that I sort of came to peace with about 10 years ago. I was like, even if I don't see everything that's going on, having a president who sort of shares my view, even on things like the environment or labor laws or the kinds of things that I don't actively work in, there's all these little things that are happening every day that you never really know about. And so with President Trump, of course, that was accelerated. Like we just saw such massive executive branch changes over such a concise period of time. I mean, I used to say a couple months ago, it's like we have more changes in a week than we used to have in 6 months. So
yeah.
it's really something.
Because you say too, like, Trump hasn't changed any laws actually, but I mean, it doesn't mean things haven't changed significantly.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. The law hasn't fundamentally changed since 1996. We haven't had any big comprehensive immigration reform or even relatively minor changes. There's always some rumblings of things happening in Congress, but it's all done in the executive branch because they haven't been able to get things through Congress. Trump Trump proposed some really harsh immigrant bills um, early on in his uh, tenure, but they couldn't get any traction in Congress, and that's when he just started doing all of his executive orders. All right, so tell everybody about the rest of the Leeds team and sort of, I mean, you guys are sort of the fun part of the firm, Daniel, don't you think?
Absolutely. Yeah, we've got a great team. We have a lot of fun. Um, uh, Ms. Laura Clark is supervising all of us, and she's really great and making things fun. And we've got Ellen Wooten and Ariella Ibarra, so they're all excellent. And yeah, it's a great team.
Yeah, and
So
so
yeah,
the Leeds team went home about, what, a month ago, Daniel?
yeah, about a month
You
ago.
guys have all been working at
Yeah.
home. How's that working out so far? It seems pretty seamless on my end.
Yeah, I mean, I was a little worried because I just have a lot of fun with colleagues and stuff in the office, but we have a messaging, we use Slack to just message each other all day, and we started using GIFs that are a lot of fun to, make jokes and stuff. So it's kept the mood light and having fun with each other. Yeah.
Awesome. All right, Daniel, I'm going to let you go, get back to it. If anybody wants to join in the comments down below, if you want to come on and ask a question, you can do that. I'm not going to be able to answer the chat just because it's hard to keep up. So we're going to have to go over to our people who call in. So the room's wide open right now. If you want to join in, a lot of times that room gets full. So if you have questions that you want to ask me, obviously it's all free. I can't give out particular legal advice on particular cases. And so if your question is more of a general nature, that's going to work out better. Daniel, I'll see you next time, buddy. Thanks for
All
coming
right, great
in.
to be here, Jim. Thanks.
Everybody.
Bye.
Bye. All right. So we're always happy to see Daniel. Always fun having him in the room. Boy, that I gotta change that thing real quick. Here we go. Here we go. All right. All right. So go ahead and get in the waiting room if you have questions. We're going to go ahead and get started. Let me bring on Z. Z's been waiting patiently. Hi, Z. How are you doing?
I'm good, and yourself?
I'm doing great. Thank you. What can I help you with?
Well, for now, me and my girlfriend, we're engaged, and we're wondering what's the best. I am a Jamaican citizen, and she's an American citizen, so we're wondering which process would be the best way to take in terms of us getting married and so forth moving forward, dealing with immigrations and stuff.
Are you in the United States or are you in Jamaica or somewhere else?
I'm in the United States right now with her. So I
Okay.
go back, we go back and forth visiting each other.
Okay. So when did you last come to the United States?
And in July 2nd.
Okay, so you came on a B1, B2 visa?
Yeah. A visitor visa, yeah.
Yeah. So there's sort of two options. One option would be for her to file an I-130 petition for you,
Mm-hmm.
and then do it all through the embassy. So she'd file an I-130 petition with you. Actually, there's three options. I'm sorry. One would be for you to get married while you're here in the United States. And then you go back home and she files an I-130 petition for you. And you just wait for it to go through USCIS, which is going to take about 8 months, 9 months. And then you go to the National Visa Center, and then you go to the embassy. So you'd probably get to come back with a green card in about 16 months. That's one option. Option two would be don't get married. You go back home, and she files a fiance petition for you. So if she files a fiance petition for you, then you would still go through USCIS, and then you then deal with the State Department, but you wouldn't have to get married first. And so she'd file that I-130 petition, and then you would get to come to the United States and have to get married within 90 days of arrival. Then when you file, then you get to you have to apply for a green card at that point once you're married, right? And so then it's going to take another year or so for you to get the actual green card. And then the third option would be as long as you didn't have immigrant intent, as long as it wasn't your purpose on coming on this trip to get married and stay, then you're going to be okay. and you can do it all here. You could stay here the whole time. So if you guys got married, she could file an I-130 petition for you. You'd have this gap where you wouldn't be able to work because you wouldn't have work authorization for about 5 months, but you could stay the whole time, and then you could file for the green card, file for the work card, file for the travel card, and then you'll get fingerprinted, and then you'll get your work card in about 5 months, and then about 6 months after that, depending what big American city are you near?
I'm closest to St. Louis.
Oh, St. Louis. Okay, yeah. So your interview would be here in St. Louis. You'd get called in for an interview, and if we were representing you, we'd prepare you for the interview, get you all ready, and then you'd go ahead and have your interview, and then they'd approve the green card, hopefully, as long as you don't have any criminal stuff or any problems with the marriage or anything, and then you'd get your 2-year green card.
Okay. Because we just want. I mean, I've heard about that process, but I mean, as you say, you just want to make sure it doesn't seem as if there's anything funny going on, and I mean there isn't, but sometimes I get it could be the hardest thing to prove, depending
Well,
on what's going on.
How long have you two known each other?
We've been together over a year now.
And you can document that, right? You can show your prior trips to the United States, and you can show the time you spent together, pictures, and her family and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds pretty straightforward. I wouldn't be worried that it's going to get denied.
Okay.
You just got to make sure that you do it all correctly. I mean, the interesting thing is with those 3 different approaches, the I-130 here, the I-130 away, and then the fiance, is that they each have different pluses and minuses. So if you just stay here, you're not going to be able to work for 5 months. So if being able to work every single day is the most important thing, then you might want to go back home and do it that way. But if being together is the most important thing, then you might want to just do it all here. So you have to sort of prioritize and say, what is the most important thing for me?
Understand.
All right. Any other questions, Z, about that?
Right now, thank you very much for.
Good luck. Yep. If you need any help, just let us know. Okay.
Definitely, we're planning to reach out to you, and hopefully you can represent us and
Perfect.
help us out with this process.
Be happy to. Thank you, sir.
All right.
All right. Bye, buddy.
Bye.
All right. So that was fun talking to Z. If you guys are wanting to ask a question, you can just hop in to the into the waiting room. We've got a lot of space today. I'm a little surprised. Usually it fills up really quickly. Here is the link, and we're going to go ahead and kick it over to Mohammed.
Hey, Jim.
How are you, my friend?
How are you? Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you.
What can I help you with today?
Okay. Actually, it's my father's case. He's a U.S. citizen. He applied for his other 2 sons, F11 visa, I think. And it was back in 2012. Everything went after a while, after their visa was available. They got an interview in 2019 in Khartoum, Sudan. So we are under administrative processing right now since October 2019. And I'm planning to file the suing case with you. I watched most of your videos. Thank you so much for all of them. I'm kind of ready right now. My question to you, with the restriction that Trump did, do you think we should wait till Biden officially do that, or go ahead and do the filing now?
I'm very glad you asked this question, and I was just talking to Daniel, who was on the show earlier, and the rest of the Leeds team about this today. And my thought is that that it takes about 75 days for the lawsuit to start to work.
Okay.
So what that means is that if you hired me today, I would sue them tomorrow, and then they would get a copy of the lawsuit in about 10 days. And then once that 10 days is over and they receive it, then this clock starts ticking.
Mm-hmm.
It's 60 days to answer based on on the federal rules. So if we sued them and served them, let's say they got a copy of the lawsuit on December 1st,
Okay.
your answer would be due on February 1st. So Trump's already going to be in office by that point, and he says he's going to end those bans on the first day. So
Right.
if it's me and I'm your dad, I want to have my son's case at the front of the line when they reopen. And the best way to do that is to sue them. That's how you get their attention. So
Yeah.
I would say do it now. So
Yeah.
I wouldn't wait until February to do it, because then you're talking about April.
Yeah, we are rushing actually because it's been filed since 2012. Originally, it was the USCIS.
Right.
So there is no any chance that it goes very fast and the embassy start talking to us way before January 20.
Well, I mean, the question is whether Trump is going to extend the bans past December 31st. That's what we don't know. But even if he does, that's only 20 days.
Yeah,
So,
I was just worried that he will extend it, and then the embassy will just say, I cannot make a decision now. There is a restriction.
yeah, but no. Okay, so but see, that's not how this works. I mean, sometimes when we file a lawsuit, the cases do go a little faster than the 75 days. Sometimes they do.
Mm-hmm.
But at the work, so I get the sense, Mohammed, that you're worried that if Jim sues them,
yeah,
and they decide on a particular day to then look at that case because of the lawsuit, if the ban is still in effect on that day, that means their case is over, they're denied, they're never coming, and the lawsuit's over. That's not what happens. What happens is, if let's say that Trump extends the ban to January 20th, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Let's say they pick up your brother's or your father's kid's case on January 3rd.
Mm-hmm.
At the very worst, they would say, oh, well, the ban is still in place for 17 more days, so we can't finish Mohammed's case until that day. They're not going to end the case.
They will not take a decision and reject it.
Right.
Okay. Final question. It's two kids. I mean, not two kids. They are over 21, of course.
Yeah.
Is the price for just one petition, or will be for two different? They are under the same petition, two sons.
We just add $500 for them, so that it's just, and we don't do two separate lawsuits. We put them all in one lawsuit, and we just charge an extra $500 for the second person.
500 for the second person. Okay. Thank you so much. Finally, I was able to get you. Thank you. I really appreciate all your help for everyone.
You got it. My pleasure. Good seeing you. Thanks, Mohammed. All right. So I might have to go ahead and take a question or two from the chat. If you want to get in the waiting room, it's wide open. So go ahead. Don't be shy. I don't bite. And you can use a fake name if you want. Nobody's going to care if you use a fake name. So go ahead. There's some spots open in the waiting room. And I'd be happy to go ahead and answer. Let me see. Let's see. Let's go ahead. Here's a question that somebody asked. Can ICE pick you up if you have an extension from the immigration judge, and is USCIS can deny the I-130 accusing fraud without any proof, just small discrepancies at the interview? That's from Mian. So Mian, in answer to that question, I mean, it's sort of a multiple part question. Now, I don't know for sure because you're not on camera, but I get the sense that the questions that you're asking here are more based on fears or concerns that you have versus things that have actually happened. So let's do the second question first. Would USCIS deny an I-130 and accuse the people of fraud without any proof, just small discrepancies at the interview? So my wife and I have been married for 23 years. And if you asked me what's her favorite breakfast cereal, I would not be able to answer that question. If they said, what was the last movie that you two saw together at the movie theater, I would probably not be able to answer that one just because it's been so damn long because of the coronavirus. So little bitty things, those are sort of small discrepancies. And or if they say, what'd you have for dinner last Tuesday? And one person said chicken and one person said steak, then that might be a little nick against you. But they're not going to deny you and accuse you of fraud just for something that small or that simple. if there's mistakes about identity or date of marriage or how you met or how, like, I once had, so one of the great things about having an immigration lawyer involved in your case is that they get to sit in the interview if the couple is separated, right? So one time I remember I had a couple where she was from Turkey and he was an American fellow, and they were separated, and she went first. And during the interview, the officer asked her whether she'd ever been engaged before, not to this person here, but whether she'd been engaged before. And she said, "No, I've never been engaged before." And he said, "Really? That's strange, because when you came to the US on your student visa, you told them that you were engaged." So she's like, "Oh my God, I forgot all about that. Yes, you're right. I was engaged before, but I didn't remember that until you just brought it up." And then they brought in the US citizen husband, and they asked him some basic questions. They asked him a question about their engagement, and I noticed that he gave a different explanation as to the exact details of how they got engaged. And they went ahead and then the officer asked him, "Well, has your fiance, the lady from Turkey, has she ever been engaged?" And the officer and the client said, "No, she's never been engaged." And he said, "Okay." So here we have big discrepancies, big-ish discrepancies in how they answer the questions about her prior engagement and about how they had gotten engaged. Now, the interesting thing is she had never told him that she was engaged before. But it was the funniest thing. Everything went okay. The officer said he was inclined to approve it, and ultimately he did. Now, this was before Trump. This was like before Trump really got going. This was in like 2017, because we were in this new office here. And we went outside, and she asked, "How did it go?" And he mentioned about how he sort of got confused about the exact details of the engagement. Like, he told the early part of the evening, and she had told the later part of the evening. So she started yelling at him. This lady who had never told her husband that she'd been engaged, she starts yelling at him for getting a little confused on the details of the engagement night. And so I let this go on for about a minute or two, and then she turned to me and she said, "Jim, how did you think how it went?" Now, she had been just wearing out her husband, and I didn't like that so much. And so I went ahead, and once she asked me, I said, "Well, it was a pretty good interview, but there was that one issue." And she said, "You mean about the engagement?" I said, "Well, not about your engagement, about the time where you were engaged to somebody else and your husband didn't know about it." And then she got all nervous, and she understood what I was saying. So in answer to your question, you can get denied for a discrepancy, but it has to be big stuff. It has to be like a fake marriage. Like, you can get denied for lots of reasons, and sometimes they make a mistake. But I don't think you should spend all your time, Maya, sitting around thinking about, "Oh, I made this little mistake, or my spouse made this little mistake. Are they going to go ahead and deny me? Are they going to go ahead and deny me just because I made that little mistake?" So I wouldn't worry about that too much. And as far as ICE coming, I wouldn't. Let me find the rest of that question. Let's see. Mian, can ICE pick you up if you have an extension from the immigration judge? If you're already in removal proceedings, the judge is probably, or the ICE is probably not going to pick you up because you're already in removal. The whole point of it is to get you into removal. So if you're already in removal, it's unlikely that they're going to go ahead and pick you up and take you into custody. All right, everybody. So I need some people to get in the waiting room so I don't just talk by myself the whole time. So feel free to come on in. And so let's while we're waiting, I just put the link down below. Help me out and come on camera and make the show a lot more interesting. All right, so so we do have a question here from Sajib. Sajib says, I was interviewed in April of 2019 and I submitted so many inquiries. They keep saying, is my case pending for review? And it's in an earlier comment, it's a family-based green card case, no updates yet. And it says that Saqib had an asylum case before and he requested to withdraw it. So it sounds like Saqib was in the United States, filed for asylum, then married a U.S. citizen, and then went ahead and applied for a green card based on that new marriage. And the case has been delayed. So Sajib, we're seeing this over and over and over. So when USCIS gets that asylum case, they put you on a certain track. And then when you get married and put yourself on another track, that sort of overwhelms them and confuses them. So when you do that, you are it's hard for them to get it all to fit together. And so when that happens, you need to you went ahead and withdrew the asylum case. I would not do that. I wouldn't withdraw the asylum case. But right now, you're probably going to need to sue them because it's overwhelming them. They don't know what to do. They're confused. So depending on what's in your asylum application and where your asylum case is, you probably need to go ahead and either sue them or really start notifying them that you're going to sue them. I don't usually threaten it, but they're overwhelmed right now. They don't know what to do. So a lot of times a green card case based on marriage gets delayed because somebody had applied for asylum before. So we see that a lot. All right, looks like we got some folks now in the waiting room. I don't know what happened. The door must have been closed or something because now it's full. All right, let's go to Sam.
Hi.
Hi,
I
Sam.
spoke to you a few days ago. I'm good. What about you?
Oh yeah, I remember you, Sam. Sure, I just didn't recognize
Yes.
the mask.
Yeah, sorry, because I'm in like the break room, and so I have to keep my mask on. I'm sorry. Yeah, there was a problem with your link, I think. When people click on it, when I clicked on it, it like redirected it to something called Pipe Drive. So yeah, but now the one that you reposted actually works.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know what that was about, but I tried several times. Anyways, I'm gonna go. Excuse me?
I was getting worried. I think people didn't like me anymore.
No, I think there was a problem with the link because I tried several times, but I have to do quick because I have to go to work. So I did what you asked me. I went to USCIS, and of course they didn't let me in. It was related to my biometrics, them reusing old, fingerprinting. And my question actually was just to know if them having the bios already, does that mean they already did the background or no?
No, they'll run them again. They'll run them again. Even
but
that's a good question. If you apply for a new benefit and they send you that letter, have you done the biometrics, or that you don't have to do the biometrics again? They do still run a separate background check.
Okay, but that doesn't mean that if it was applied again, they use the same biometric in July. That doesn't mean that the background check was completed. It could be not completed, right?
True.
Oh, okay. I thought that meant they did it. And then second question, I also told you I applied to N400 at the same time because my husband and I decided to do it since it was 3 years. And so I was also wondering if the fact to apply for that will make it, and there are chances they adjudicated together, will that actually extend also the wait for the I-751? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, remember I said that the other day, that what happens is that they get confused because they have two applications on file at the same time, and they're not always ready to do one or the other. So things get sort of confusing there.
Basically, what I'm wondering is, so I applied in October for N400, and I'm like, maybe they were about to give me an answer for I-751, and the fact that I applied for N400, I just kicked the time, does that mean that or not necessarily?
I wouldn't beat yourself up over that. There's no way to know that.
Okay. All right. Well, that's all I wanted to know. And thank you for having me again. Thank you for everything. Have a nice day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Now we're cooking. Hi, Smith. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Thanks for having me.
What can I help?
Yes, I have a question here. I have a pending I-751 right now, and I also applied for N400 through the military. And I did the interview October the 19th, and it's been like a month now, and I haven't got any answer. On the N652 form slip that I got after the interview, it says that I passed the interview test. Also says follow the instruction of the N14 and no decision, but I wasn't given any actual N14 form.
I'm going to mute you for okay. All right. So Smith is wondering, he has a marriage-based green card. He applied for the removal of conditions based on that 2-year green card. He's married to a U.S. citizen. He also applied for an N400 based on citizenship, and he's wondering what's going to happen with that. Why didn't I get a decision at the N400 stage? And they said that I'm going to get an N14. So number one, Smith, the N14 might still come in the mail. We just don't know when that's going to happen. So just because they didn't do it right away doesn't mean that they aren't going to. The one thing I wanted to say is that there's confusion about whether someone can naturalize through the military when their 751 hasn't been approved, even if the N400 is not based on marriage, but rather on the military. So we've had this come up a few times. So you might need some help notifying them that they can approve the N400 without ever ruling on the 751. Now, arguably, you could withdraw the I-751, but I wouldn't do that. I would instead push. I mean, what you probably need to do, Smith, is wait a little while, see if the thing works itself out. If it doesn't work itself out in about 3 months, then I would say, call me. We should file a lawsuit that covers the 751 and the N400, because otherwise, right now they're confused and they don't know what to do with those two cases. But if you sue them, it should get you want an approved 751 and you want an approved N400. You don't want to just skip that 751, and you definitely don't want to withdraw it. So I would say my advice would be, the N400 interview was just a little while ago. Maybe give them 2 or 3 more months, and then sue them for both.
Okay. All right.
Thank you for your service. Where are you?
I'm in Florida.
What branch of the military are you?
National Guard.
Well, thank you for your service. I hope you stay safe.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Bye, Smith. Hi. Always happy to see our friends in the military. All right, we're going to go to Vini. Vini, are you there?
Hello, Mr. Hagen.
Hi, Vini. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Great. What can I help you with?
Thank you so much for taking my call.
Sure.
I live overseas and I have my case at the NVC right now. I am the son of a U.S. citizen. When the case became current, we sent in all the documents to the NVC, and my stepfather, my mom's husband, is a co-sponsor, and we filed him as a co-sponsor, but he has to be filed as a household member, correct?
Correct.
So they sent us back saying that there was a problem, that he should be filed as a household member, and I resent the documents. And it's been 8 weeks since I've done that, since I resent the affidavit under household member. When I first sent all the documents, it took them about 3 months to get back to us. Are they gonna take 3 more months this time? Is this normal, or is there an issue?
Yes, there's not an issue. Yes, this is normal. Yes. I mean, this is one of the reasons why, and not to beat up on you or make you feel bad, this is one of the reasons why I think it's really helpful to get an expert to help you with those affidavits of support, because if you make one mistake, you just lost 3 months.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I did do this. This was a lawyer that filled out, and he made a mistake. So, do you have any experience with the Stockholm embassy? I mean, what should I expect? Are they as hostile as some of these other embassies seem to be?
No, they're very fair. I think you'll be fine.
Okay. And are they expecting me to bring the originals for the affidavit, all of those documents of my mother that's in the United States while I'm overseas?
Well, you need your identity documents and you want to have a full copy of everything, but you don't need originals of things like the affidavit of support. You just need originals of your birth certificate and things like that.
Yeah. Once I can schedule an interview, should I just do it and get it over with, given that they are not giving out visas right now?
Well, I mean, you're a little bit away. If you're still at the National Visa Center, you're a little ways from there, and I would think that by the time you are there, they'll be giving out visas to the sons of U.S. citizens.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for your help. I'll let somebody else ask some questions for you.
Thanks for being here, Vini. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much. See you later.
All right, buddy. All right, next up is Kira or Kyra. We'll have to see. We have a friend named Kyra, and she gets really mad when we call her Kira. Kira or Kyra, are you with us? Looks like there she is.
Hello?
Go ahead. Yep, go right ahead.
Okay. Hey, Jim. I always watch you on YouTube, so this is unexpected. I was cutting the onion when I heard my name. So, and it's Kira. You were saying it right.
Good.
Okay. So I am the wife of the benefit. I'm the U.S. citizen, and currently we were notified back on the 13th that we have been scheduled for an interview. Now we're a little nervous for the interview simply because previously we I believe it's the form I-130 was approved, I believe, back in February or March, if I'm not mistaken. But it was saying that it was sent over to the NVC. And my husband is here in the States. And he was adjusting status. So I reached out to the NVC and they informed us they was like, okay, they wouldn't move forward with their end of it. We also just tried reaching out to just to get some assistance or speaking with a lawyer regarding the matter, and they were telling us that we would have to refile, and it was just it's just a lot of confusing things going on. So I just wanted to get your standpoint on it, or on what should we expect with the interview being scheduled and everything.
So the spouse is in the United States.
Yes.
You're a U.S. citizen.
Yes.
When you filed the I-130, did you at the same time file the 485, or did you file that separately later?
No, we filed at the same time.
And you got receipt notices back and everything?
That is correct.
You got a receipt notice for the 485?
Yes.
And then somehow you got an I-130 approval notice, but it was more for like an overseas case, and it said your case is headed to the National Visa Center.
Right.
And now you've received notice that there's an interview, or you've got like an online alert that an interview notice is coming, but you haven't received the interview notice yet. Is that right?
That is correct.
Okay, so the thing that'll be important is, I mean, hopefully that the interview notice is the case number for the 485 receipt number or for the I-130?
So it's two different case numbers. It's one for the I-30 and it's one for the I-485.
And the electronic alert that you received, is that for the 485 or the I-130?
That's for the 485.
Good. Okay, so that's good. It sounds like the case is back on track.
Okay. So we shouldn't have to, as far as the I-130 being sent over to the NVC, that's something that we will just basically discuss at the time of the interview.
Yeah, and you should treat it as if the I-130 has not been approved. You're still going to need to prove up the marriage at the interview.
Okay. Alrighty. And just another question while I have you here.
Sure.
So we are in the midst of just, getting ready for the interview. We've been in the talks of possibly getting a lawyer to come with us.
Huh?
It's been a rough year. We've been married for 2 years. We just celebrated our second anniversary back in September. But the thing is, we had a denial because the service we used, it wasn't a lawyer, and we didn't know that until after the payment and everything. But it wasn't a lawyer, and basically the services that we were using, they turned in our request for evidence late. So we got a denial the first time, but we ended up reapplying and everything, and this is now how we're here at at the stage of getting an interview for us refiling. And so I'm working, and I just he has his work permit, and he has a travel document and everything that was approved, but he's just been having a hard time looking for work with coronavirus and everything. We're down here in Florida, and I had a car accident. It was all kind of things that happened. My vehicle got totaled, so it's just I mean, we have documents that I've been living with him before we got married. It's just I just feel like we don't have many documents that show that's like joint, like we have a joint bank account and things of that nature, but I just feel like we don't have enough in a sense. I also was considering getting like family and friends to like write letters just to confirm the marriage, and I just want to get your standpoint on that, if you thought that was a good idea. Or
what country is your spouse from?
He's from Jamaica.
And what you're telling me is that this is the second I-130 that you filed on his behalf, that the first one was denied because you used like a notario who wasn't a lawyer and who filed your request for evidence response late. Is that right?
Correct.
And what was asked for in the request for evidence? Was it that more marital evidence?
No, it was so basically at the time, the job I was working, I wasn't making enough, so they were requesting for a joint sponsor. So we ended up his sister's baby father, he's a good friend of ours, and so he agreed to be a joint sponsor with us and help us with the be a joint sponsor. So he kept trying to get in contact with with the services we were using, but they were oh my foot. But I mean, I think they was just kind of like, they were dragging their feet with the process or trying to get in contact with him. I'm not sure exactly why they weren't able. We called them constantly, and constantly sent them emails and everything, and it was just it was a mess. So
just learning lesson for everybody else. This is why you use lawyers and not notarios, not to make you do that. Just public service announcement, right? That made me laugh, and that made me come on camera. Kyra's here to tell everybody, don't use a notario.
Listen.
And that was worth it right there, just to see you laughing. Now, let me talk. All right, okay. So now we're in a situation where we've already had a prior denial. Now, the prior denial was not our fault. We didn't do anything wrong. The people that were supposed to be helping us didn't help us. None of that matters now because it's still another denial. So because you have that denial, you're going to be held to a higher standard on round 2. Right. So, Kyra, if you want your husband to stay, you need to find some money and get someone to help you to put this case together, because right now it sounds messy. Okay. You're going to need a lot more marital evidence. You're going to need not letters from family members. You're going to need affidavits sworn under oath, because you get the wrong officer, if they're not signed and notarized, they're not going to pay any attention to them. They'll literally just throw them over there and not look at them. Okay. So you need to build this case up. But this case sounds like it's okay, but you've got probably 6 or 8 weeks before your interview. You need to pound that case and work on it hard to develop all the evidence of the marriage. Right. Okay. Yeah. We kind of figured I knew that. I've been on it, and again, I watch you all the time, so yeah, I knew that, and I know some people get lucky and they get officers that are a little bit more considerate, but I know our luck hasn't been the best, and I thank God that we made it that we was able to finally get an interview scheduled since waiting from April. But I want to make sure that when we go in there, we knock them dead and just get that overwhelm them. That's right. And so one thing that I'll ask our team to do this weekend is we have an evidence of marriage. It's a 2-page sheet that we send all of our clients. I've really been wanting to make that publicly available. We'll put it on our website. But for now, if anybody wants that, just email us info@hackinglawpractice.com. Okay. And we'll send you that. It at least gives you an idea of the kinds of evidence that you can possibly get. Okay, Kira, I'm going to go get on to the next caller. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. It was nice talking to you. And thanks for coming on and laughing. That made my day. See ya. All right, let's go to David.
Aloha, Jim. How are you?
Oh, hey, which island are you on?
I'm on Big Island, brah.
Nice. So we went to Maui last year. I really miss it. I'm jealous of everybody who's in Hawaii while I'm stuck here in St. Louis.
Good for you. I can't wait to head over there too on the next vacation or day off or whatever I get.
Great. That's nice. You can just go from one island to the other. What can I help you with, David?
Well, I was just my adjustment of status was approved earlier this year. My EAD card, all that, and then after a crazy RFE, my I-140 was just approved 2 weeks ago. My law team said maybe March-ish I'll see a green card or get some kind of, they might want to see me in Oahu for an interview or whatever.
Yeah.
So I just want to know, I always bug them, but I always watch your show and I can't believe I got on here, but yeah, I like talking to someone. It's usually through email or,
yeah,
you know, it's not really.
So walk me through this. Where are you from?
I'm from Canada.
And you're in Hawaii working?
Yes, I've been here almost 6 years.
Your employer filed an I-140 petition for you.
Yes.
And that's been approved.
Just approved 2 weeks ago. Yeah, we're stoked about that.
So, and you filed the green card case at the same time. You filed them contemporaneously.
Yes, one after another. Yes, at the same time, like last year. Sure.
So the green card case is still pending, and you've received your work and travel card.
Yes, I have.
And what's the receipt date on the I-45?
I think it was December 2019.
Okay.
November 2019.
I mean, Trump says they're doing interviews on every green card case ever. So I think that you'll probably have an interview maybe in February or March. Now, so I've been working on some research on some statistics. That Honolulu immigration office is not an easy place. They're actually pretty tough.
Oh, are they? When I went and got my biometrics, they were super nice.
Oh yeah, but this was on marriage stuff, so I think you'll be fine.
Okay.
I think there's a chance you won't have an interview, and if you have an interview, it should be pretty straightforward. Now, a lot of times these officers don't know how to do green card employment-based interviews, and so they treat them like a spouse case, which is sort of weird, but that's what they do. But if they don't do that, if they know what they're doing, it should be pretty straightforward as long as you don't have any reasons to make you inadmissible, like crimes or anything.
No, none of that. I don't think I'd be here. So I won't have to go to Montreal to the embassy and do an interview, or it'll probably be here.
It'll definitely be in Hawaii.
Oh, right on.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
All right, buddy.
Good news.
Keep us posted.
Pardon?
Keep us posted. I will.
Thank you.
All right, see ya.
Okay, buddy.
Bye, David. Bye. All right, let's go to M. M is on the case.
Hello, can you hear me?
I can. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Great. What can I help you with?
So I'm an international student here from Zambia. I've been studying at a university. I have a year left. So what goes on is I got married last year, but my I-20 expires at the end of December, and my school informed me saying they can't renew it in December. So I was trying to talk to you and figure out what my options are, because I started my application for a change of residency, but I'm trying to figure out what my options are because my I-20 expires at the end of this semester, which is December.
Are you going to graduate?
No, I'm not graduate. I still have a year left, but they won't extend my I-20.
Why? Do you owe them money? Do you owe them tuition or something?
No, I do not.
Why won't they extend your I-20?
I have no idea. I talked to the international office and they just say, because my program, I was supposed to be graduated in 4 years, but it's taken 4.5 years to 5 years because of COVID. I couldn't take some of my classes and whatnot.
That sucks.
Yeah.
I'm always amazed at the different treatment that international students get. On one end of the spectrum, you have international student advisors who bend over backwards and do everything they can to help their students. On the other end of the spectrum, you have international students who have that knife out and they're just waiting to call ICE on what international students they got.
Right.
So it sounds like you're closer to that one. Unfortunately, you just need to find another school and transfer and get a new I-20.
Okay. I'm considering mine expires in December, and I'm working on a green card right now because I got married last year. I'm just filing my paperwork right now.
Okay. Well, so then you don't necessarily need it. It's always better to stay in status, but you don't have to.
Okay. But as far as attending school, I cannot attend school because my I-20 expires, correct?
Unless you get a new school to give you new I-20.
Right. And how hard is that, considering if you're already in here in the U.S. trying to transfer to a different school to apply from scratch?
In my experience, most schools are very happy to find you a place to go so that they can.
Okay.
All right, Em. Good luck, brother.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
2 minutes left. We're going to try to do some rapid fire ones, so everyone be ready when I pull you up. Al's next.
Hey, how you doing?
Good, Al. How you doing?
Great, thank you. So my question is, how long is too long for a 485 to be pending these days? So mine was filed in February this year, but my I-140 was approved in September. So I spoke with the USCIS rep in live chat, and they said that my case is in Washington D.C. office, which seems to be a field office, right? And so I guess that my interview is getting closer. And my second question is, when is it usually safe for people to change jobs once they get their green cards?
Yeah, so that's a good question. I just did a video on that the other day. You might check it out somewhere, I'd say about 2.5, 3 weeks ago. Do you live in the Washington, D.C. area, so it makes sense? Yeah.
Yes.
So it's hard to give estimates as to processing times for I-140, 485. It's just they happen so infrequently that you can't really read too much into it. Now, that Washington field office is a busy place. And I can tell you that on my marriage cases that I have in DC, those tend to go about a year and 2 months, which is about 3 months longer than like here in St. Louis or other sort of mid-market places. So I would say you're probably going to have your interview about a year after you file that 485.
So it means February, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Regardless of when my I-140 was approved, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
And, there's a chance you won't have an interview at all, but I think you probably will.
Mm-hmm. A lot of people don't have interviews on EB cases, as far as I know, right?
They never did, but we're seeing it more and more.
Uh-huh. And when is it usually safe for people to change jobs once they get their green cards?
So, number one, you always have to wonder, what are my contractual obligations? Like, did I agree that I would pay them back if I left? Go ahead.
Sorry, I've been with the company for 3 years.
Did you sign any kind of contract that said if I leave after getting my green card, I'll pay you back or anything?
No.
So first question is, do you have contractual obligations? Sounds like it doesn't. Number two is, do I think they're going to come after me and want that money back? They might.
Likely no.
Okay, good. So then the only question is, if I apply for citizenship, 5 years from now, are they going to look back and say, oh, you quit as soon as you got that green card? I would say that as long as you stay for 6 months, you should be fine.
Yeah, I just received a receipt notice on the renewal of the EAD card, and they say that I can actually use this AC21, whatever that is, and
I would wait a little bit, because you might be closer. If we're talking February, I would encourage you not to change employers just because it makes things more complicated.
Well, yeah. Okay. Thanks. Yeah.
All right, buddy.
Bye-bye.
Bye. I'll see ya. All right, let's go to Nicola. Nicola, are you with us?
Hi, yes, I am. My question is, I came to the US and I got married to my boyfriend. He became abusive and I had to flee with my son. We ended up in a domestic violence shelter. And through the shelter, I was put onto an attorney who helped me to do my VAWA petition.
Great.
I was in a state of fear for so long that I didn't even look at my package until recently, because I realized that I got a prima facie determination, but it was just for me. I did my biometric and it was just for me. It wasn't for my son also. When I looked at my package, I realized that the section had, is anybody applying with you? And that was left blank. I am now trying to wonder if my son can be added to my VAWA. Is that something that can be done? How would I now do my son? Because I don't want him to end up being illegal here, definitely not.
So, Nicola, number one, let me say I'm sorry that you're going through all this. That's really terrible, and I'm glad that you're in a safer place, that you're not reliant on your boyfriend, and that you're moving forward with your VAWA petition. It's hard for me to answer the question about adding your son, number one, because I haven't done that much VAWA work, but more because I haven't looked at the paperwork. So I think that depending on what stage you're at, you might be able to add him. Depending on what's been filed or what has the I-360 been approved or no?
I'm still waiting. I just got the prima facie determination.
Yeah. So I would notify them in writing as soon as possible if that you want to add him. You might need a separate application form. I just don't know the answer. If you send me an email at info@hackinglawpractice.com, I'll have somebody check it out just because I don't know the answer. And I'd like to be able to, I'd rather give you the right answer than try to guess while we're on the call.
Okay. One more thing.
Sure.
Seeing that I am here and you know the work employment process takes some time, I sent a letter because I got an apartment, but my lease will be up in December. And still I cannot work until I get that employment authorization. But I sent them a letter recently asking if they would consider an expedited review of my case. And I sent every piece of document that I have to show them that I am experiencing some severe financial hardship because I can't work. And do you think that they do that, they expedited, or what are my chances? Do they just like toss that aside?
I think they do. I don't think the chances of them expediting it are very high.
Wow.
Yeah, even if they say they'll expedite something, it's very, very rare. It hardly ever happens.
Okay, thank you so much. I'll send the email.
Okay, thanks, Nicola. All right. All right, let's go to Jason. Jason's been waiting for a while now.
Hey, Jim, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Okay, great. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
I wanted to just real quick give you the background and then kind of see what you think from what our attorney is telling us. But my husband is here pending asylum. He was not inspected when he originally came here, but he did file for asylum about a month after he got here. That's pending. He has not had his interview yet. I don't think it's even until like 2022, they told him on his last paperwork. I am going. Go ahead.
Is he in immigration court?
No, he is not in any type of deportation or anything.
Okay.
He had his biometrics, just waiting for his asylum interview. I am gonna petition him probably January or February for the.
You're a U.S. citizen?
Yes.
And are you married?
Yes.
Okay.
Now our attorney said, yeah, that's fine. We'll get that done. He will have to go to the embassy, but then of course my question was obviously not Colombia because that's where he filed his asylum claim. So I kind of wanted to know what the process was, asking the State Department and Immigration if it is approved, the 130. How can we get that done? Maybe at the Mexican embassy or something like that.
Yeah, you can ask. I mean, first thing, Jason, is stop waiting until January. You need to get that stuff moving. No reason to wait. Number two, you can make provisions asking. I mean, it's going to slow everything down. But he's only had one entry into the United States?
Yeah, it was an illegal entry, and then he filed for asylum about a month and a half after he got here.
And when was the entry?
2017.
And have you talked to your lawyer about the waiver process and how you're going to need to get that waiver?
Yeah, he did say that he would have to file a waiver.
So I appreciate the question about, where can we send him if we can't send him to Colombia? But that's like question number 17. You've got 16 questions to answer before then.
Okay.
So I think that's say that another way. That's like the least of his problems, right? So you can work around that when the time comes. Right now, you need to get the I-130 on file. You need to start working on your waiver application to show the hardship that would befall you if you were separated and he were sent back home to Colombia, and that should be your focus. I think a lot of times people get hung up in, you know, what about this, what about that, but you just got to do the next right thing. The next right thing is to get the I-130 on file, and then the thing after that is to get the evidence going on the.
So is it not correct, as he was saying, that because he filed for asylum within 6 months, he would not be admissible?
Well, no, I think that's incorrect. If he entered without inspection,
okay.
I mean, no, if he entered without inspection, he's going to need the waiver.
No matter what.
I think so. I might be wrong about that, but I don't.
Okay.
I never heard of the 6-month rule.
Yeah, if I was understanding the way our attorney was explaining it, was if he had some sort of status or pending asylum within 6 months of illegal entry, then he wouldn't have to do a waiver.
I think that's incorrect.
Okay. Well, I will double check that with him.
I'm often wrong and have to look things up. I'm happy to be wrong. It'd make your life a lot easier, but I don't think. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right. I'll figure that out with him then.
All right, Jason. Thanks, bud. Nice to meet you.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
See you, bud.
Bye-bye.
All right. We got time for one more. We're actually over time, but I'm going to kick it over to Farouk because Farouk's been waiting a really long time, I think, since people started coming in. Farouk, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for taking my call.
What can I help you?
It's interesting to see that all these, these people and how some of the cases really seem identical in a way. So mine is exactly like Jason a while ago. So I came here about 6 or 7 years ago. It was B1, B2 visa, and then I applied for asylum. It's been at USCIS level, not an immigration court, for the past 6 years. And now the employer filed I-140. I mean, the Department of Labor already approved the perm, and I'm waiting to file premium and navigate from there. So my question is, I noticed from the fact that since I filed the asylum while on valid status, I do not have the 10 years bar. But I've been reading about a case called the matter MLK, which kind of like similar, but in a different way. The court eventually decided saying that pending asylum is not a status, and therefore the applicant was not eligible for employment-based green card, even though the company has sponsored them and whatnot. And eventually, I'm arguing with myself and the people that are helping me with the technical fault on the parts of the USCIS, the fact that they have not adjudicated the case, and I filed it while in lawful status, and weighing the option between consular processing and adjustment of status. It's if at all possible. Nobody want to go through, especially with this pandemic and whatnot, and then navigating the third country action. So my question is there any likelihood to pursue adjustment of status as opposed to consular processing on the basis that I have not, I mean, if it wasn't for the technical reason to be out of status, I practically would have qualified for adjustment of status? That's number one. And the second one, I know I'm the last person.
That's right. Let's do that one first, because otherwise I'm going to forget my answer, and then we'll go back to the second one. Is that okay?
Yes, yes. And the second one is, at what stage do I ask it either NVC, or do I wait until the case is transferred back to my country, which I cannot go back, to ask for another transfer to another embassy? Or could I ask at NVC level saying, look, I would ask this post to take jurisdiction of the case because I can't go for these circumstances? So do I ask NVC, or do I write the embassy? Which way?
Okay, so again, you just like Jason right before, you're way down the track from where you need to be. Right now, we need to focus on what we have going on. So my first question is, do you is your asylum case still at the asylum office, or is it at the immigration court?
At the asylum office. Never been to immigration court.
Have you had your interview?
No, sir.
my understanding is that you're right, that because you filed for asylum while you were still in valid B1, B2 visa status, that you are eligible to adjust even based on employment as long as your asylum case doesn't get sent to the immigration court. Once it goes to the immigration court, that sort of breaks that lawful presence, and you can't adjust at that point. So I think that your whole goal, your whole process should be focused on adjusting here. You don't want to spend any time thinking about going overseas. You want to do this all here. And you want to.
And the lawyer keeps on saying that the case that I referred, Mara MLK, the court decided eventually saying the technical reason to be out of status based on technical reason was not found there, because on that case, the client was referred to the immigration court from the local USCIS office.
That's the difference.
But that's not mine.
That's why that was the first question that I asked you. So I've had 2 or 3 green cards approved, not on family basis, but that use that pending asylum at the asylum office as a bridge to get them in status for, in your case, the I-140. The other ones they had were I-360s, special immigrant stuff. So, so I think you're right, and you should stand on everybody's head until they agree that you're right. And you should say, I'm not going anywhere. I'm doing this all here, and I can because I have not been sent to the immigration court.
And how do I overcome the bar under 245A?
Tell me about that.
You know, to adjust status, you have to be in lawful and continuous status within the U.S.
You are.
Pending asylum is not a status, correct? It's authorized to stay.
That's true. That's true, but those cases say that you can still use that to adjust.
Perfect. I will send you an email, and thank you so much for taking my question.
All right, Faru. Thanks, buddy. All right, everybody. That's our last call of the day. Sorry about the technical difficulties, not getting everybody into the show. I don't know what I must have been tweeting out or sending out the wrong link, but it was great being here. We may do this a little bit on Saturday. If not, we'll definitely be here next Tuesday at noon Central, 1 East, and I guess that's 10 West. All right, everybody. Have a good weekend. And again, thanks for being here.